Hey, bro, I got your stupid crown. Oh, shit! Got 3,000, motherfucker. Treat? Treat? You are not an elf. You look like Auntie Ethel. Hey. Alright. Well, at least that means we can kind of sort of start getting started. We are in chapter 4 now. I'm gonna start on scopes. There's actually not that much to this chapter. I think there's only like 4 lessons here. Oh shit, why's that fridge still open? Letting out all the cold air. Well, yeah, we're gonna finish. I'm gonna see if I can't do this whole lesson tonight. I don't know what's gonna be in those scope quizzes. I'm not even I don't even remember if I've already done this one or not. I remember this first lesson right here, this first question. I don't know if I did more than that. But we're about to see in a second. Let me click a few more settings. Let's see about it. Why is that like that? I need more stuff in my playlist. This is the only thing that's fucking there. Might as well start. Scope refers to where a variable or function name is available to be used. For example, when we create variables in a function, such as by giving names to our parameters, that data is not available outside of that function. Go ahead and put that there, I guess. When the subtract function is called, we assign 5 to the variable x, but x only exists in the code within the subtract function. That x right there and that x right there. If we try to print x outside of that function, then we won't get a result. In fact, we'll get a big fat error. 6-minute long video.
One of the most confusing things can happen is you declare a variable, later you go to use it, and then Python complains that the variable was never defined. That's usually because you're mixing up your variable scope. Let's talk about it. Let's start with some code. I'm gonna kind of visually just draw out some code over here on the right side of the screen. So let's say we have a variable named x, and I'll just set x equal to 5. Now, this code is not within a function, so this variable x is going to exist within the global scope. And let me draw that global scope over here as a big box. Okay, so this is the global scope, and inside of it we have x is equal to 5. Global scope is pretty easy to understand. If any variable exists in the global scope, then it's going to be accessible everywhere within the program.
Yeah, I remember
Python
this.
scope is based on functions. So
I remember
to get
this.
another example of a new scope, we need to define a function. Let's define a function f. Just name it f. And let's say that within f, we
Find a
define
bug
new
in
variable
code on line
y,
10.
set it equal to
We're using variable names for the wrong
we've
scope.
indented now, we are inside of the function f,
Line
and
10.
we've created y. Well,
Hey, yeah,
y
I
does
already
not
modified
exist
this.
at the global layer. Instead, we're creating a new scope within the global scope. So this is the scope of f. And inside of that, we've created the variable y. So what this means is y is only accessible within the scope of f. Okay, so down here, I could, for example, print y, and that would work just fine because I'm still within the function f. What I could not do is come out here into the global scope and print y. This will break, right? Inside of the global scope, we do not have access to y. Y is only available within the blue box. But, interestingly, x is, right? We could here do print x, and this would work because x is in the parent scope, in the global scope, and so it still exists within f, if that makes sense. So you can move downwards, but you can't move upwards. You can go from parent scopes to child scopes, but you cannot go from child scopes to parent scopes. Let's do another example. Let's say we define another function g, and we define this function at the global level again. Okay, so I've dedented back to the same kind of level as x equals 5 and the f definition. And here we'll create a new variable called z and set it equal to 20. Okay, so where does this scope exist visually? I want to pause for just a second.
Here. It's going to go inside the global scope, but
so
outside
G
the F
does
scope.
not exist within
They're on
F.
F and the
It's
G,
its
the
own
F2
but
scope,
it
and the
does exist
blah
within
blah. I
the
can't
global
talk. G and F are like
down here.
same level, but they don't interact.
Z is a variable inside of G. So within G, we can access Z and X, but we cannot access Y. All right, one last example. We're going to define a function H, and we're going to define it within G. So let's do H here. And we'll create a new variable called A, set it equal to 1. Okay, now where is H going to live? Right?
Inside of
H
G.
is going to live here inside of G. So within the H function, we can access A and Z and X, right? But we still can't access Y. And within G, we can still only access X and Z. We don't have access to A or Y. So the idea is pretty simple, and hopefully now you kind of understand the difference between a parent and a child scope and how they relate to each other. Now I want to show you a quick quirk about the Python programming language that isn't necessarily the same with other programming languages. Okay, so I've written some code here. We've got this function getNames, and inside of it I've created an array or a list of 4 strings, right? Lane, Ellen, Bob, and Jill. And then we are going to loop over each name in the list and create a new variable called x and set it equal to name. And then we're just going to print out x once the loop terminates. Now I want you to look at this code and think, what's going to happen here, right? What is x going to print? Let's go ahead and run the code. This will be Python main.py. We got Jill.
So it's just going to be random?
So the interesting thing about Python
Or it's the
is
first
that
one?
even though x
No.
was declared within a for loop, x is still available outside of that for loop. And that's because in Python, variables are scoped to their functions, just like we covered kind of visually, right? It's important to note that in Python, variables are not scoped to blocks like for loops or if statements, like they are in many other languages. In many other languages, this would throw an error and say x is not defined. I would need to say put the x in here, which would of course print it for every single one, or I might need to do something like declare x equals none up at the top, and then kind of overwrite the value within the loop. And the only other thing I'll say about this kind of weird quirk of Python is I wouldn't take advantage of it too much. It's a little weird, frankly. You know, as a developer who has had experience in more languages than just Python, to declare a variable within a block and then access it outside of that block, even though you're in the same function. So I would recommend not doing this very often, right? Even though Python allows you to do it, I think it results in kind of some weird to read code. I hope this video has helped you understand scope in Python and even scope in other languages a little bit better. If you found it useful, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out.
Yep, I found it useful. Oh, that's just... Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Yep, that's right. Global scope. Before we looking in the global scope, that means when we define a variable or function, that name is accessible in every other place in our program, even within other functions. For example, pi equals 3.14, 3.14, and you can use pi everywhere. Because pi was declared in the parent global scope, it is usable within the get area of circle function. Let's change how we are calculating our player stats. The only thing we should need to define globally is the character level, and then let our functions do the rest. Declare the variable player level at the top of the global scope instead of the 4. Whoa, player equals 4. Yeah, it was 4. Character has 40 max health. Character has 15 primary stats. 40. 400 max health. 51 primary stats. 400. 411. 4,000 health. Alright, go back to 4. Ding-a-ling. Submit. Oh, I'm so smart. Can't wait to feel dumb again in a second. Scope quiz. Does the get area of circle function have access to the pi variable? Yes, because the pi variable is in the global scope. Can the area variable inside the get area of circle function be accessed outside the function? Could the area variable inside the get area circle function? No, it cannot. So outside of it. All right. That wasn't that bad. Unit tests. Up until this point, all the coding lessons you've completed have been testing you based on your code console's output, what's printed. For example, a lesson might expect your code in conjunction with the code we provide to print something like Armor 2, Health 18. If your code prints that exact output, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. New type of lesson. Going forward, you'll encounter a new type of lesson, unit tests. Unit testing, aka form of software testing by which isolated source code is tested to validate expected behavior. Unit testing describes tests that are run at the unit level to contrast testing at the integration or system level. So in that case, I suppose that when it was graded to be based on this, that was system level. Going forward, you'll encounter unit tests. A unit test is just an automated program that tests a small unit of code, usually just a function or two. The editor will have tabs, the main pi file containing your code, and the main test pi file containing your unit tests. Okay, the unit tests. Okay, so these so which ones are the unit tests? Is this the unit test or is this the unit test? Is this the unit test? Is this the unit test? Or is this the unit test? Keep reading, you might understand something. Unit tests. These new unit test style lessons will test your code's functionality rather than its output. Our tests will call functions in your code with different arguments and expect certain return values. If your code returns the correct values, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. There are 2 reasons for this change. It's more realistic. In the real world, you'll be writing unit tests and running them against your code to make sure it works as expected. You can run code and debug your code with print statements and leave those print statements in when you submit. Unlike the output-based lessons, you won't have to remove your print statements to pass. Let me reread that because I was reading it, wasn't internalizing it. I got that first part, it's more realistic. You can run and debug your code with print statements and leave those print statements in when you submit. Unlike the output-based lessons, you won't have to remove your print statements to pass. Complete the total XP function. It accepts 2 integers as input. Level XP to add. The pass keyword is a way to tell your Python to do nothing. You'll need to replace it with your own code. There are 100 XP per level. Total XP should convert the current level to XP and then add this current XP to the XP to add argument and return the player's total XP. For example, if a player is level 1 and gains 100 XP, they have a total of 200 XP. whatever. So how do I do this? Say my level equals 10. Total XP should convert the current X level to XP, then add this current XP to the total XP should convert the current level to XP. Then add this current XP to the XP to add argument. I think that's still fine. So let's say level is 10. Total XP function should convert the current level to XP. Let's say the current level is 10. How do we convert the current level to XP like that? Oh, I guess equals level. Let's say level is 1. Times 100. Not about to run, is it? Yeah, no. How do I test it though? Total XP should convert. Yeah. 100. One passed, one failed. I did something right just now. Shit. What do I do? Okay. That's right. One passed, one failed. One passed, one failed. What if I do this? Still one passed, one failed. I'm thinking of something wrong here. I know there's something wrong here. We're not getting enough juice. Is that literally it? We're technically still failing. All right. Yeah, instead we're still failing. Let me save and keep this somewhere real quick. In my little notebook. Just in case I need to come back to it. So I'm about to erase this real quick. So what would my XP to add be? 100 XP per level. Okay. Just put that in there. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up, baby. Hold up. I'm not making any pants. Okay, so XP to add. Equals level times 100. I think so. There are 100 XP per level. Total XP should convert the current level. Current level to XP. Level equals 1. Okay, was that it? Is that why? Because I didn't have total XP first. Total XP should convert the level to XP. It says 2 passed, 0 failed. No, I think I did. Did I do it? I'm scared to press the submit button now. I think I fucking did it. Did I fucking do it? Oh my gosh. I might have to nut. Please, baby chicks, tell me I did it right. Oh. Bruh. You have no idea how much of a confidence booster that was just now. Like shit. Like it took me a minute, but I did it. I did it. Ooh. That brightened up my night. 2 lesson types. As we talked about, there are 2 types of coding lessons on Boot.Dev. Console output lessons and unit test lessons. Console output lessons. Only 1 file of code, usually with a comment explaining where to write your code. When you submit your code, its console output must match the expected output exactly to pass. Debug print statements will cause your code to fail submission, so remove them before submitting. Unit test lessons. 2 files of code, main and main test. You can read the tests, but you can't edit them. When you submit your code, the return values of your functions must match the expected return values exactly to pass. Console output is ignored. You can leave debug print statements in your code. Which is more common? Going forward, you'll encounter far more unit test lessons than council output lessons, but you'll still see both from time to time. Different concepts are far better suited to different types of lessons. I want to go look at this again. This is a problem. I always had an issue with like word problems when I was doing math. Not because I'm illiterate, but because I'm a fast reader, and a lot of times I'll read something but not have any understanding. So whenever they brought out like word problems in my face in math class, I was just like, damn. Well, I guess I'm gonna fail this fucking test. Like, if you just give me the numbers, bro, I got it. But you start putting the letters in there, what's it? Ironically, even though I'm good at algebra, ironically, once you start putting all them like actual words in there, it starts fucking me up. This is math, not English. Also, I want to play around with this. Why is that expected? That shouldn't be expected. It should be higher. I wanted to play. What's the point of playing with this now? You ain't showing me the good shit. Fuck this, man. Oh well. You can submit blank lessons with your debugging code. Console output. No? Because someone said that you could. No, okay. Debugging. When you're working as a professional developer, you'll typically write code on your computer and test it by yourself before it's deployed to users. That first part of the process is called debugging. You write some code, run it, and if it doesn't work, you fix the bugs. You repeat this process until you're confident that your code works as expected. Run versus submit. At Boot.Dev, the run button is for debugging. The submit button mimics the idea of publishing your code for production use. You should be debugging your code using the run button. You should be adding print statements to your code to make sure it's doing what you think it's doing at different points in the code. Write a line to calculate value. Print the value you calculated. Run the code. Did it print what you expected? If not, fix it. Repeat. You will never lose XP or be penalized in Boot.Dev for using the run button. However, there are consequences for submitting broken code, just like there are career consequences for pushing broken code to your users. The submit button will run additional tests. When you use the run button, a few tests will run against your code. However, the submit button will run additional tests that you're not able to debug against. That's what keeps it fun and realistic. It's so hard to know what your users will do with your code. Complete the take magic damage function. It should return the new health after calculating how much magic type damage the player takes. Here's a description of the arguments. Health, the player's starting health. Resist, player's magic resistance. This reduces the damage they take by a static amount. Amp, the attacker's magic amplification. This increases the damage they deal by a multiplier. Spell power, the base damage of the spell. First, calculate the total maximum damage to be inflicted by multiplying the spell power by the amp. Then subtract the resist from the total damage to get the actual damage dealt. Apply that damage to the player's health and return to new health. Alright, whatever you say, Big Daddy. Yeah. Guess I kinda sorta gotta. Well, instead of doing that, can't I just do like this? Or would that be bad? Would this be bad? I think that would be bad because I don't think it can change dynamically if I do that. equals 50. And let's say 10 amp. What? 5 spell power. 15. First, calculate the total maximum damage to be inflicted by multiplying the spell power by the amp. That's gonna need more than 50 health, dog. Shit. Maximum damage to be inflicted by multiplying the spell power. Amp. Amp. Then subtract the resist from the total damage. Resist. There's resistance to the damage, get the actual damage dealt. Apply that damage to the player's health and return the new health. Ah. Yeah, I'm probably writing this super junky, but I understand it like this. I don't know. I'm probably not writing it in the most effective way. But shit, the fact that I'm writing any at all is pretty good to me. Return new help. $210, $125. Is that what you wanted? All right. So what's wrong? I'm getting negative 185. So let's do this. That might be the issue right here. No. That was not the fucking issue. Calculate the total maximum damage. Okay, let me do this. Actual damage equals spell damage minus resist. No. I had a feeling it's gonna do that. Actual damage still. Why are you negative number? Really change nothing. Should return new health after calculating how much magic type damage the player takes. Yeah, I didn't think you could do anything right there. Negative 185. That's what's making me think I have like one small error in here somewhere that's fucking me up. Calculate total maximum damage. Jesus Christ, can't type tonight. Ah. The 181, negative 185. New house equals. Oh. Okay. So that was one issue. Now we still have one other issue somewhere. So we have the 185, but what part of this is failing? What part of the shit is failing? Plus equal 1. I'll be right back. I don't want to see your solution. Just show me this thing. Okay, that ain't got nothing to do with it. One passed, one failed. Let me just take this return off real quick. That's not helping for this for unit test. Hmm. Close, but I actually just don't know what's wrong now. My math itself isn't wrong. I don't think. That I can see. We have the actual number now that we have health and total damage in the right positions. We're turning to new health. Then subtract the resist from total damage to get the actual damage dealt. First, calculate the total maximum damage to be inflicted by multiplying spell power by the amp. Okay. That's what I've done. Then subtract the resist from the total maximum damage to get the actual damage dealt. Apply that damage to the player's health. New health equals yes. Actual damage. It's basically the same fucking thing. Like I put in a whole new line, a whole extra line of code and just did nothing. Same place where I started. Get rid of all of this. Just did that. Yeah, that's what you wanted me to do, apparently. I mean, yeah, to be fair, that does take out a lot of fucking extra legwork. Shit. Fair enough, fair enough. How cold is this tea? Not very anymore. That W deserves a drink. It's non-alcoholic tea. It's a non-alcoholic beverage. Don't worry about it. Delicious. These late night streams might be coming to an end soon. Unfortunately, I might be getting a job. It's gonna be night shift, so no more nighttime streams. You know, if I actually land it. Yay! I'm happy with it. I'm very happy. I did this myself. Didn't look up anything. I just read the instructions and I fucking did it. Happy times. Learning effectively. This course is about to get a bit harder. There's no way around it. If programming were a walk in the park, everyone would be earning six figures as a software engineer. But it's not, and to succeed without getting stuck and frustrated, you need to learn how to learn. Process of solving hard coding problems. Read the lesson first. Figure out the examples before writing your own code. Read the assignment. Understand the goal of the assignment before you start writing code. Start writing code. Add print statements. Don't wait until you've written a lot of code to start testing. Add print statements and use the word run and use the run button to see if your code is doing what you expect at each step. It's easier to find issues in small bits of code than in large blocks of code. Keep running, printing, and fixing until you're confident your code is working. Submit your code. If the assignment you're working on has unit tests, no need to remove your debugging print statements. If the assignment you're working on is testing console output, be sure to remove your print statements before submitting. Compare your code to the instructors. You will not be penalized for looking at the solution after you have successfully completed the assignment. Jesus Christ, can't talk. Compare your code to the instructors. Additional tidbits. Try to use Boots before peeking at the solution. Boots is quite good at giving you pointed hints to help you solve the problem on your own. It's okay to peek at the solution when you're completely stuck every once in a while, but don't make it a habit. If you find that you're always stuck, you should restart the chapter or course to make sure you understand the material. You can reset your code for an assignment with the reset button. For example, maybe you forgot which modifications you made versus which code was left by the instructor. You can reset all your cast code from the settings page. This is useful if you want to restart a course or a chapter. You will be penalized for peeking at the solution after you've successfully completed an assignment. False. Untruth. Falsolante. Temporarily adding print statements is a good way to quickly test and debug small pieces of code. That's something I'm going to have to work on. So I don't even know when and what part of a code that I would want to test a little bit. I don't have the intuition yet. When you're stuck, what should you do first? Whine on X Twitter about how hard coding is. Yes. I'm not going to do that though. Ask Boots a question about your code or peek at the solution. Number 3. Debugging practice. I want to walk you through how I approach writing code, complete with all the debugging steps I take along the way. The goal is to write small amounts of code and then test each bit of code to make sure it's doing what we expect before moving on. Trying to write entire programs at once is a recipe for pain and suffering. The goal is to write a few lines, test them, and then write a few more lines and repeat until you're done. This isn't a technique that's unique to beginners. Even senior engineers write code this way. Let's complete the unlock achievement function. It accepts 3 arguments. Before XP, XP, name string. It should return 2 values. The player's XP after the achievement is unlocked, the sum of before XP and achievement XP. An alert message that says achievement XP unlocked, achievement name, where achievement name is the name of the achievement. Let's start by running the code in its current state. You should see an error like this. Indentation error expected in the indented block after function definition. Looks like we're getting a syntax error. Python doesn't allow you to have an empty function body. To get past this error, let's just return 2 dummy values from the function. None. None. Run the code again. This time you shouldn't get a syntax error, but your test should fail because you're returning the incorrect values. Let's fix that. Let's start by calculating the new amount of XP. Update the function body. Oh, that was still none, wasn't it? Calculating a new amount of XP. To XP equals or yes achievement XP. That is not in the correct place. Should be here. Should return 2 values. The player's XP after the achievement is unlocked. Run the code again. This time you should see the after XP value printed to the console. Does it look correct? It shouldn't. At the XP 15. Yeah. It's 250, not 150. Should be sum of the before XP index XP values. That means it should be a plus. Okay. Once that's working, remove the print statement and return the after XP value instead of the first none. So that's working. Remove the print statement and return the after XP value instead of the first none. Run the code again. You should see that your tests are closer. The first expected and actual value should match for each test. The second return value is still broken. Let's fix that. Okay. Yeah. It does say it passed for one though. I guess it technically doesn't need to, from what I've seen. The first expected and actual value should match for each test. The second return value is still broken. Let's fix it. Now, after we have the after XP value, we need to create an alert message. Update the function body. Alert equals achievement act name. Print alert. Code is the console output what you expect. You want the alert to say achievement unlocked, achievement name. Something's wrong. No. It's working fine though. Okay, achievement unlocked. That's working how it should. Remove the print statement and return the alert value. All right, I see how it works. I see how it's supposed to work now. Now that your tests are passing, submit your code so that it runs against all the test cases. Remember, when you run instead of submit, you're only able to see a few of the tests. The submit button will run all the tests, which might catch bugs you didn't know you had. That's why it's important to debug with print statements and the run button before submitting. Well, this should be fine. Yay! Potato. Stack trace. No idea what the fuck this is about to be. Something ridiculous. Stack trace. A stack trace or traceback is a scary looking error message that the Python interpreter prints to the console when it encounters certain problems. Stack traces are most common, at least for you right now, when you're trying to run invalid Python code. You need to get used to figuring out scary error messages as a programmer. We might as well start now. Go ahead and run the code in its current state. You should see something like this. Python error traceback, most recent call list. Call last. This is a standard header that's just letting us know that a Python traceback is what we're looking at. File exec line 6 in module, and file string in line 1. File string line 1 in module. This is the start of the trace. These strings, exec, and string files don't really exist. The Python interpreter is letting us know about them because they have to do with how your code is executed in a virtual browser-based environment. 3. Home, pydyne, main, py, line 3. Now we're getting to the real meat of the error message. The purpose of a trace is to show us the path that the Python interpreter took through our code before it encountered the error, which can help us figure out what went wrong. In this case, the interpreter was executing the code in the main py file, and it got to line 3 before it encountered an error. Message. In this case, the interpreter was executing the code in the main py file. Okay, I read that just now. 4. Message. F. You have strength, wisdom, and dexterity for a total stats. This is the line of code that caused the error. Indentation error. Unindent does not match any outer indentation level. This is the type of error that was raised. In this case, it's an indentation error, which means that the Python interpreter was expecting a certain amount of indentation, white space at the beginning of the line, but it didn't get what it was expecting. In this case, line 2 is actually indented 6 spaces, which is why the interpreter is confused. Fix line 2. Run the code again. Yeah. Can't that work if they're all indented though? Doesn't it still work if you do that? No? Thought it did. Maybe. No. Still something wrong here. Which, okay. Undetermined string literal detected at line 3. Line 3. Is it because I just don't, they're not fucking, how do you say string? We'll figure it out. We'll read the rest of the fucking directions. Don't be fooled. The proper amount of indentation in line 4 in Python is 4 spaces or 1 tab stroke. In this case, line 2 is actually indented 10 spaces. Run the code again. You see another error. This time, a few lines like that. Now we have a syntax error, which is just a more general type of error related to invalid code. Take a close look at line 3 and fix the problem. Isn't it less the problem of line 3 and more the problem of none of these bitches have like an integer tied to them? No, it wasn't that. Undetermined string literal detected at line 3. What's wrong with line 3? Get my spell book real quick. F strings in Python. Print message. think doing that would fix it. Because I think it's reading strength, wisdom, and dexterity as strings when it should be reading them as integers, right? I mean, I know it's telling me to look at line 3. Let me see something. One strength. Actually, let me do this before I do all that extra typing. Strength 1, wisdom 2, dexterity equals 3. Okay, I see. Why use that color? What are you doing? All right. That should fix it. Yep. Submit. Yay. All right. Made it to chapter 6, computing. Hour 20 minutes. All right. I think I'm going to stop with the Python right there, at least for now. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it tonight, but we'll see. But that was good. You did that shit. Understood it. Felt good. So, what do I want to do now? I don't even fucking know.